Let me introduce you to my favourite summer dress. The issue is, I only have this one summer dress. We don't honestly get enough weather for me to have a full summer wardrobe. And I have looked on the website of Isabel London, who have made this dress, and they don't have anything in the same cut. And I don't know what to do with myself that I only have this one dress in my wardrobe that is comfortable in the heat. So most summer dresses, when you look at them, they're spaghetti straps and they're low. And yes, they're nice and airy, but I don't want that in my life. So there was nothing on the website of this particular cut, and it got me thinking. I have this dress, I have this big roll of material. I'm gonna make my own dress without having an actual pattern. This will not be my first rodeo. I have made one skirt before, and that's the extent of my dressmaking skills. I have never been to a single formal class. I have never had a sewing machine lesson officially. I've been shown the ropes by people who know what they're doing, but not official sewing lessons. So I didn't think anything, I was just impulsive and just began hacking at the material. So yeah. Anyway, let's make a dress. So I began by unrolling the material onto the floor to give me lots of room to maneuver. And I was really just pulling out the dress in every direction to get an idea of its size and the different angles. And the plan here was to just try and cut around the dress, leaving quite a wide seam allowance. And I thought if I did a rough cut, then I could figure things out later. I have never cut anything without a pattern before, but I just was desperate for this dress and wasn't really thinking straight. You can see that I've already cut the top half of this dress before I even remembered to turn the camera on. So you can see that I've cut the top pieces and the bottom pieces that have a front and a back. And yeah, when I looked at this, I was like, oh, this is really squint. The one difference there was between the front and the back was this neck. It was slightly lower at the front. So after realising that rough cutting freehand was a terrible decision, I continued rough cutting freehand to make the neckline. And yeah, it was a little bit squint, so I tried to tidy it up as best as I could to do all of my cutting. And yeah, at this point I thought this was the best I could do, so I decided to pin the pieces pattern side to pattern side. So here I am pinning the skirt on the side seams, and then I stood back and took a look and thought, wow, this is really squint, and I totally screwed up. So I folded things over and could really see the issue that it wasn't symmetrical, it wasn't a mirror image on the left and right side of the skirt. So I was able to see what the issue was and decided to go in with a pencil to guide myself on where to sew. So that would hopefully allow me to have a straight skirt despite having a squint pattern cut. So after I penciled out my lines to be actually where I wanted to sew, I then sewed up the side seams of the skirt. I did the same for the top, sewing up the rib sides of the top, and I also did along the top of the shoulders. And then I needed to see if what I had sewn actually fit me. There isn't a great seam allowance on all of it. You can see here one of my slightly neater seams. Okay, good news. So I just sewed the seams of this top. It's still inside out, but I couldn't help myself chucking it on for size, and it seems to be roughly the right size, which is giving me life. So yeah, this is kind of the vibe I was going for. Obviously still need to hem the neck. Don't even know if I put this on like front ways or back ways. I just wanted to check that I could physically fit it over my head and it was gonna look like roughly the right body length and width in the waist. And yeah, it hits exactly on my waist, which is very exciting. Seems roughly the right size. So I've also got the bottom half, again like the material still inside out, but I have sewn the side seams of the bottom half as well. And by my estimation, it also is about the same width as the top half, so they should be okay to attach together. I think we may have the beginnings of a dress, which is wonderful. So yeah, this is the bottom piece. Looks kind of squint, but I have sewn it straight. It was cut squint, I have sewn it straight. And yeah, the top piece fits, which is a miracle. So it's time to press my seams open and zigzag. I think they seem fine, and then I will attach the bottom piece to the top piece. Okay, I'm going to take this off and get ready to iron. So I pressed open all of my seams to just make them sit nice and flush. And I don't know why, but this is always one of the most satisfying bits of making anything. So there isn't a lot to work with on some of these seams. They were quite tight again for my absolutely catastrophic cutting. But I worked with what I had, and I went and made all of the hems. So I folded over twice and ironed the bottom hems, the armholes and the neck hole. And then I sewed up all of the hems. And here I am just sewing along the neckline to hem it in. I'm trying to be really careful, but the geometric pattern with some dark blue, some medium blue and some white, sewing with the white thread was quite nice. It was almost a camel print, so it really was hiding my sins. And here is the neckline hemmed. Oh my gosh, armpits are so hard to sew. I've sewn on a flat curve before, but I have never sewn on a rounded curve. Yeah, armpits are my least favorite thing to do. This is where I'm at so far. So I have sewn the skirt piece, and I've hemmed the bottom. I was tidying up all the little threads, and I have given up for now. I will go back and tidy them up, but there is only so much thread tidying I can manage at one time. So I've done the skirt piece. It has a completely naked edge on the top. I have done the top piece, and it has a completely naked edge on the bottom. And all we need to do now is, well, tidy up all of the loose threads that I gave up on. And attach the top to the skirt. So yeah, armpits are possibly the most difficult part of this. I didn't follow a pattern, have never looked at arm patterns before. I think if anyone has seen a pattern before, they might cry on how I did these armpits, but I don't know, from the outside they look okay. Yeah, really bad. The other side is even worse. That was the good side. So yeah, this is even worse. So we have tons of material here, which has been tidied up with a zigzag to stop it fraying. But yeah, just not looking good on the inside. So we'll see. I hope the armpits don't fray. That would be really upsetting if I wear this a few times and then the armpits begin to fall out. I might just need to patch them. I probably would patch them. Okay, so top piece and bottom piece are on. We have quite a lot of movement on the skirt, which I think will be taken in really nicely with a waist elastic. The neck, kind of tight to get on. However, the whole purpose of this dress was to be kind of high neck, shoulder coverage, to avoid the sun and the sun cream debacle that I find myself in. So I am a big fan of the neckline of this. I think the way it sits around kind of my armpits and chest, not entirely flattering. However, if it's maybe pulled down slightly, or potentially I have more material gathered at the back of the top in the ruching, I think it could work. I have no plans to re-hem or re-sew the armpits or the neckline. I kind of like the way it sits. I do think I have like 70s power shoulders going on, which I like. The dress that is my template does not have such starched, rigid cotton, so it sits much more draped over my shoulders, but honestly, power shoulders I am kind of enjoying. The location of where the top cuts at my waist is perfect, and the length of the skirt I think is just right. So it does kind of come down to just above my knees, which I'm a fan of. I'm kind of worried that I don't have enough length in this dress, and when I attach the top to the bottom piece, I'm gonna lose too much length. So yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna attach the top to the skirt. I'm thinking of doing a running stitch and gather it to make sure that they are nicely aligned and where I want them to be, and then I will do the final sew. So I think I might try and gather some, oh, that looks nice with a white waistband. Ooh, that does look nice. Oh, okay. We might have a slight change of plan on the waistband, because I think I really like that white waistband. Huh. Okay. And off to the side here, I have all of the offcuts of material. And in the offcuts of material, I am seeing this, this edging. So for the waistband on the template dress, it's super thin piece of elastic, like possibly the mask style elastics, and it is maybe 1 centimeter. There is a little channel with the elastic that's been woven in it, and I think, just having looked at this, it has been sewn with an overlocker, I think, pattern side to pattern side, and then it was just folded once again to make this pouch of where the elastic goes in. But I think, honestly, the template of this dress has been pretty nicely matched. Like, it does have almost power shoulders, it's just the material is, I underestimated how much it would make the cut of the dress look different, but I also think my top half is much shorter than this, so my top comes up to here and then it might be folded up again, but I am very short and I don't have a lot of length in my torso or anywhere in my body. So honestly, I think the top being kind of shorter is nice. I don't know, what do you think? Should I just do plain material all the way through, or do I want a little white waistband? I don't know, I can't decide. I also don't know if technically I have the ability to do this. We'll see. I'm tempted, I really am. I just don't know how to do it. It's gonna be much more technical. But it might make the dress prettier to have slightly more waist detail. It is so hot. Oh my gosh. I think I also underestimated how different the material type is on how cool a dress is. So let's get this waist sorted. So I had to take in the width of the skirt slightly because it was wider than the top to be able to attach them together. So I did a running stitch only on the skirt. You can see it's a little bit ruched in. And then I turned the skirt inside out and I placed the top inside to be able to sew them together. So I tried to sort it as best I could, and I pinned them together all the way around. I did mark kind of halfway to make it attached evenly all the way around and make it as neat as I possibly could, and I just went about pinning at a 90-degree angle to the waist. Then I sewed these together with quite a wide seam, and I did this maybe 2 and a little bit wider than the elastic itself. And then I went ahead and zigzagged. I don't have an overlocker, but I think my original dress was done really neatly with an overlocker. It looks still kind of vulnerable to fraying, I will say, so I'm gonna have to wash this really delicately. And then the wide kind of flappy piece I pinned down. So you can see there is gonna be a channel made kind of where my finger is going through to feed the elastic through here. And the aim of the game is to leave the channel for the elastic to go through there and sew again. So I rolled up my dress so that I could feed it through the sewing machine. This was an endeavour because I had never sewn anything so large. I'm just used to small masks and the like. So here I am sewing to be just slightly wider than the elastic to make this channel. I popped a wee safety pin onto the elastic, and I didn't quite sew the full perimeter. I've left a little opening to be able to feed the elastic through on a pin and squeeze it all the way through. It was a little bit tight. Okay, I have finished this dress. What do you think? So, the dress is finished. I am very happy with how it turned out. The waistband was a little tricky, getting the pin through with the elastic tested my patience, but we got there, and I am really quite excited on how this turned out. The length of the torso and the location of the waistband compared to the original dress, looking pretty good. I really like it. I like how the waist sits. The waist is sitting exactly at my waist point. I am super happy with how this turned out. And so is my cat. For it being a no pattern quick summer dress, I am delighted. I think it serves all the purposes. I'm not going to get sunburnt shoulders. I'm not going to have to wear sun cream all over my chest and back. I am very happy with the length of this dress as well. It hits just above my knees, which is perfect. If I sit down, the backs of my thighs are covered so I don't get any sticky chair print. The neck, it's not kind of too tight, but the neck is definitely a little high. Mostly the neck is an issue for getting the dress over my head. I feel like if I was to put this dress over my head with like a full face of makeup, probably would get kind of a dirty neckline, which is not ideal. I have no plans to change the neckline, and also it just kind of fits over my head nicely because it has this elasticated waistband, so I didn't need any zips or anything. But yeah, there's maybe a little bit too much material here, but it is kind of the same shape as the other dress. I just did not factor in how different material would let a dress sit so differently on me. This template dress was originally from Isabel London. I absolutely love it, and this is the dress that you've watched me make. This is the right cut that I was looking for, and I think without a pattern it's pretty good. I mean, if you really scrutinize it, the shoulders are a tiny bit squint and the waistband is maybe a little bit lopsided, but at the same time I don't care. The other good thing about this dress is the material. The pattern on the material is doing a lot of heavy lifting in hiding my flaws. I think everything is straight enough, but the geometric and confusing prints on the dress are doing a lot to help me out. I completely gave up on making a white waistband. I saw a very good tutorial, which I will link below, about a genuine pattern of how to make this dress, which I only saw for doing the last waistband, and I was like, oh wow, if I had seen that video beforehand, maybe I would have made some adjustments. They did really nice sleeving. They did this thing where they kind of sewed a material kind of cuff onto the sleeves, and I was like, oh, that would have been a really good idea to do. And looking at the original dress, I think they have done the exact same thing, where they have kind of sewn on, oh, maybe they haven't actually. Okay, well, the dress that I saw the nice pattern from, they kind of sewed on an extra bit of material to kind of cuff it so it didn't fall out. So if my armpits do fall out or they get a little bit worn and they're starting to fray, I might do that and just kind of cuff a bit of material round and seal it all in again, because this geometric print will hide everything and nobody will know. So yeah, I think going from my original dress to this, I think we are pretty good. I learned a lot. Oh, we have a cat to join again. Yeah, I definitely learned a lot. I learned that you should probably use a pattern. I mean, I kind of knew that. I learned that you should cut material while it's not only the front and the back side together, but also folded in half. So like your left shoulder touching your right shoulder as you cut the pattern out, because I did cut the pattern incredibly squint. I learned that the type of material that is in the dress really has made a difference to how hot or how cool it is. I feel like the original dress is such cool flowy material and this is kind of thicker. I don't know, maybe this will be more of a party dress than a summer dress. Either way, I'm delighted. There is still the option in the future of making a wee white waistband, which I think could be cute. There's so much room for trial and error with a project like this. I had so much fabric to start with, I was like, ugh, I have nothing to lose. And yeah, this was a super fun little project for a few weeks. It, I think, originally started off as a little bit of procrastination, and it flowered into a project where I have this lovely dress. There's birds to chase. Oh. Oh no, there's blankets to need. And this is the copycat dress that I tried to make without a pattern and without any experience, and honestly I had a blast. The armpits are kind of terrible, the inside seams are disgusting, but from the outside, I think on a sunny day, this will be a lovely dress to have in my wardrobe. So thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. Congratulations. This was probably really hard for people who have any sewing experience to watch. So yeah, if you would have done anything differently on this dress, or you have any tips for armpits in particular, then please let me know in the comments, because yeah, I'm very much getting into sewing, beginning to enjoy the process of looking at a piece of clothing and figuring out how it was made, and then also making a few pieces myself. But yeah, this is the dress. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!